Hi, I'm Stephen Orr, and today we're going to be making fall window boxes. Nothing says welcome like a window box on the front of the house, especially in the autumn when the rest of the garden might be looking a little tired. It's really great to freshen up the front of your house with a window box. You may have had some summer annuals in the window box earlier, or you might have had spring bulbs even earlier than that. So window boxes are great because it can be a rotating display. What we're going to focus on today is incorporating fall plants like this beautiful kale or these mums, and adding different garden perennials and even some gourds and pumpkins. The best way I like to approach this is to do it where you have a color scheme. It makes it really easy. This is a silver and white color scheme, as you can see, with this ornamental kale that has the white tones in it and the silver both. It also has some white gourds, some silvery lavender, and then this little fun grass called fiber optic grass. This is a non-hardy annual grass, but it'll last until frost. And this thing will be looking great all the way till snow happens, and then you can rotate it out. We were inspired by this wine-colored chrysanthemum and paired it with a heuchera, which is a garden perennial, and also a juga, which is another garden perennial. Any of these perennials you can, when you take the box apart before frost, you can go ahead and plant them in your garden if you can still dig in the ground. That way they can come back next year and survive in your garden. With most of these plants, you want to pick plants that are kind of suited to each other. You're going to be watering them about once a week. You can test to see if you need to water by putting your finger in the window box, and if it's about 2 inches down, it's dry, you should water. But you know, this time of year it's cooler, you won't be watering every day as you might have done during the heat of the summer. Other than color, one of the things you really want to pay attention to is texture. On this one, I like the frilly kale leaves that are really ruffled, combined with the lavender silver, and also with this really wispy fiber optic grass. That really makes a nice combination of textures. This one also has the mums and then the dark heuchera leaves mixed with the juga, the ground cover. So when you're picking a window box, obviously you're going to pick it for the size that fits your window. There's so many different types. These are very kind of minimal looking white wooden boxes. You could pick something more ornate that's made of zinc, or something fiberglass that looks like zinc. You can also pick kind of a metal, an open metal container basket that you can line with cocoa fiber. Any of these are great, and they really should kind of match your style of your house. If you have something more modern, these would be great. If you have something more traditional, you might want something with some ornamentation. So what we start with is just a box that has drainage holes. That's essential. If you want to, you can line that with a piece of plastic, especially if your box doesn't come out easily if it's bolted in. You might want to line it with a piece of plastic that will let you kind of pull the contents out and replace it. Because after the fall window boxes, you might want to go into a holiday window box with some sort of evergreens or conifers, or even cut branches from the Christmas tree. So I'm going to just do, as you notice, these are all symmetrical. That's an easy way to start. If you want to be more adventuresome, you can try something asymmetrical, where things are a little bit more unusual. But what we're going to do is start with these two large mums, and all you need to do, I already have some dirt here, is pull them out. Make sure you have some space. I'm going to space these as my two big guys in the arrangement, and then fill in around those. So usually start with the focal point, which are the largest plants, and then go from there. So two big mums here. Usually the plants have kind of a front, so you can kind of pop out in the front and see which one looks best. Then I'm going to put in these smaller mums. And you know, window boxes are a little miniature garden, but they're really forgiving because the plants are in there for a month plus, maybe 2 months at the most. They're not in there for months and months and months at a time. So when you're planting them, you are trying to give them good growing conditions, but you're also keeping in mind that they're really not going to live in there all winter and come back next spring. So the care that you normally would take with a garden planting, you can be a little looser about that. So once you have your base of these chrysanthemums down, we want to add some things that make it a little more interesting, because chrysanthemums are great, but they're not the only fall thing that makes it beautiful. So we're going to add in some ornamental peppers, these beautiful yellow ones. There's all sorts of colors and varieties. These are obviously something you could grow in the summertime, but they also look great in this fall planter partly because of these colors, all these fiery colors that work together so well. So I'm putting the 2 yellows in. One other little tip is you can kind of, when you're making the window box, you can kind of aim your plants slightly forward just to get a little more flower action so that you get the full effect of the flowers by kind of pitching them forward a little bit since no one's going to be seeing them from the back. Then you can pop in a few more peppers. These multicolored ones that look like little fingers are great, and I'm kind of angling those forward as well. And you can really pack the peppers in. They will not grow that much in a couple of months, which is how much time most of these things are spending in here. You can really kind of pack the whole thing in. I'm going to add in some of this beautiful red sedge grass. It looks kind of like a dead grass. It's got a nice dry look to it, but it's actually alive. I'm going to put those in for height and for texture in the back. So I have kind of 2 of them coming out the back here. And then I'm going to start on the gourds. So I'll be doing this from the back. You'll be doing it from the front, which is a little bit easier. So what you do is you just pop the gourds in, and really wherever you can find a spot for them. These are these great winged gourds, which are really bizarre looking, have great color. Small pumpkins, more of the small gourds. And you're just trying to make kind of a centerpiece of the different squashes and gourds. I'm going to pick a peak around the front and add 1 more there. I think that looks pretty good from my angle. And then once you're done, all you do is fill in any gaps with soil so that there's no air pockets. You want all the roots of the plants to not be exposed to air. You want them to be in soil. And then you'll water the whole thing in at once. That'll help settle the soil and also the plants in. And water about once a week. You really only need to water once a week or even 10 days. The temperatures are much cooler. You don't have to water as much as you would have in the height of the summer. When you're done with the window box, and let's say you're kind of transitioning from Thanksgiving into Christmas, you can just lift out the contents of this box by pulling up the plastic liner, or if you're not using a plastic liner, just pull the plants out, plant anything that you want in the garden that's a garden plant, get rid of anything that's an annual, and then you're able to transition into some nice evergreens or conifers or something with some red berries for the holidays. Thanks so much for watching The Dirt. As you can see with these window boxes, they couldn't be easier, and if you pay attention to color and texture, you'll have something great to welcome your guests from Halloween to Thanksgiving. Please subscribe and comment below on our channel.